Everyone. I've unmuted everyone, and does anyone have a question you would like to ask?
Stuart?
Yes.
So sometimes I'm getting some realization during my day, new understandings. But when I meditate, I just go deeper and deeper, and they don't matter anymore, sort of. I don't know. Is it like, should I let go of them? Like my new understandings, a realization about my life?
Let go of everything. Because if you hold on to it, it's going to become something, in your brain, something that you create. I mean, it's just, look, my teacher, he said, if you connect with some Lohan in the cosmos, don't grab onto that energy. Surrender a little deeper, because behind that Lohan, there'll be 16 others that are ready to nurture you. And it's the same way with every experience you have. Don't hold on to it. Surrender, let go deeper, because behind any kind of experience you have, both in life and in the cosmos or wherever you have it, there's always 100 that are right behind it. And the whole problem with people is we latch on to something and we don't let go of it. We think that's the end of it. It's not. The energy in the cosmos is infinite. It's beyond any of our comprehension. And any experience we have of a higher nature, I promise you, behind it, there's going to be 50 more. So if you let go, all that energy is going to come into you. And all of that energy is going to help you to grow in your life. Understand, if you hang on to any experience, it's going to become your limitation. And, those 50 other Lohans or whatever, they bring knowledge, they bring wisdom, they bring so much depth. That why substitute one experience for 50 others that are right behind it? It's the same way with living every day. We grab onto, and that becomes the end of our life. Instead of realizing that behind each and every experience we have, there's so much more that life has to offer.
Also, the change is sort of magical. I'm like working, suddenly just poof.
Yeah, like, it's magical.
Yeah, that transformation from that of struggling, working, and then it's
yes, it's magical.
Yeah, it's just is.
Your job is to be grateful for it.
It's 2 o'clock.
Not to get swept away. Oh my God, what gratitude for this thing that's coming, and how do I surrender deeply so that more can come? There was an artist who lived in the early 20th century, and I forgot his name, but I used to see his paintings at Christie's, Sotheby's, up for auction, and they're always estimated $300,000-$400,000. And it was the same freaking painting all the time, of just a very dark sky with inclement weather and some town with maybe one or two people. And I mean, every painting was like that. And I said, well, what the hell with this guy, I'll never forget, I was in Los Angeles and I went to the Los Angeles County Museum. And there was an exhibition of these painters. Right now, I forget what group they were, but it was Matisse and Brock and this guy, and 5 or 6 other painters. And the paintings that were in that exhibition were so extraordinary from that particular painter. And I knew, subsequent that I saw paintings like his come up for auction, and they were $5 and $10 million. So the only thing I could get from this is this guy found some commercial technique after he exhausted his genius. He found a commercial technique that kept him in the money, and he just leveled off. And he stopped creating these, they were called the fauves, these people. And instead of creating these amazing paintings when he was 25 and 30 years old, he started doing these, things you probably painted by numbers, And that's what happens to people. We level off. We find something that kind of works for us in life, and we level off. And we don't try to go beyond whatever it is we discovered in our lives. So there's higher creativity and higher creativity, higher experience, more knowledge, more wisdom, more enlightenment, and less of us. I mean, this is an important thing to understand, not only about art but just living, because everybody just grabs onto anything that represents some degree of security, in their lives, only to discover later on there is no security other than being connected to God. All the rest of it is just transient. It comes, it goes, Please, Flora, don't drink. Now wait 5 minutes, okay? Please. You just disrupt the class. Does anyone else? I hope you understand what I'm talking about, because it's really important. I mean, this thing I'm talking about now has always been a saving grace in my life. Because I was never, I never would grab onto anything. This is it. And the only reason I do Rudy's meditation exercise is because it forces me to constantly surrender, to go to a higher place of consciousness in my life. Without accepting some leveling off, which is, some kind of representation of security that is not real security. Does anyone else, I don't want to kind of be a hard ass here, but I love it when people grow. I love it when people change. I love it when they tap places in themselves they've never explored before. And they find pockets of what you talk about, that miraculous energy, inside themselves that really inspires them to do incredible things in life. To me, this is really one of the miracles of being alive. Forget about a spiritual life, just about living every day. I mean, it really is something extraordinary that a human being can tap within themselves. And I know it's not easy. I mean, we all want to kind of level off and find, but it doesn't work, you understand? I mean, I once wrote a short story about this woman. It's based on a true story that happened to my grandmother. And it was really a great lesson to me, It's about, this woman is telling this story about how she was sick and she was in a hospital and they proclaimed that she was dead, the doctors. And she went up into the cosmos and she saw light and souls of her husband and family. And then she came back to the earth. And this happened to my grandmother, and they proved out she was alive again, And she said to my cousin who was there, this is incredible. She said, they don't want me in heaven. There's nothing for me to do on earth. She was 93 years old. There's nothing for me to do on earth. I don't understand any of this. Why don't I just go, finish, And to me, it was like an incredible thing, I mean, she was 92 years old making dinner for 20 people at a dinner party in my aunt's house. I mean, and she crippled her. She hurt her hip. She couldn't, they don't want me in the cosmos. It was the most existential thing I ever heard in my life. They don't want me in the cosmos. There's nothing for me to do on the earth. This is what happens to people as they get older. They sit around in old age homes and, and just fester, Instead of every day working on themselves, their inner life gets younger. So as you get older, there's more wisdom, there's more creativity. There's a greater ability to do things that are truly extraordinary in the world. Does anyone else have a question they would like?
Where did you write this story?
Hmm?
In which book is this story from your
Oh, it
grandmother?
hasn't been published yet. I have a book of short stories called New York City Moments and Other Stories, and I haven't published it yet. They're very wonderful stories, actually, very surreal and interesting and dealing with day-to-day life, but in a very off-key manner, But I haven't published it. I got tired of publishing things, I don't have a big reading audience. I work so hard at these books, and then they go out there and 7 people read them, and it makes me tired.
What you said, what you said about the grandmother was actually the question I was thinking of asking you, but then I said, your notion of time, because it's this notion of timeless, which if through this meditation you can feel, and so you find a kind of security inside.
I didn't quite understand what you were saying.
The story you talked gave me this idea of that time does not exist in a way.
It doesn't exist except in our minds.
Exactly, and
That's where we create time. Soul is infinite.
exactly.
It moves endlessly through the cosmos. It reincarnates into different bodies. It's endlessly learning about what it means to get closer and closer to God, the soul. There is no time. We manufacture time in our heads, and then we create all this fear around time, getting older, getting this, dying, It's all, we manufacture all this stuff. And we manufacture it to keep ourselves from truly being free, truly connecting with higher energy in the universe, that which is infinite in the universe, not that which is endlessly limitation, and that which is endlessly keeping us kind of locked in our own private prisons, Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Sure. Stuart,
It's me.
can you talk about realizing the impact of this inner work when you look at the world through the lens of us instead of the lens of I?
Well, the lens of who?
I, like me,
The lens of us. You
Lens
mean the
of
lens
us
of the
versus us.
total population of the world?
Well, just the connected, how we're all connected.
Well, look, Larry, we're all connected because we have arrived in a place in ourselves that we can see the difference between what's real and what's not real. That's how everybody gets connected. And everybody in the world doesn't do this, but we can be connected to every person we meet and everything that goes on in the life because we see what's real and we're not intimidated by all the bullshit that goes on in the world. So it's no longer us looking through, some kind of prism that the life refracts into a billion things that are like a kaleidoscope. No, it's us seeing what's real and being capable of making choices every day according to our capacity to see what's real. That enables us to embrace life. We're no longer intimidated by life because we're no longer trapped in that game of Maya, illusion, power, money, blah, 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 on and on, You see what's real. To me, what's real? What gets me closer to God? That's what's real. And then everything becomes real. You understand? Because there's nothing that in life that isn't a manifestation of God, and nothing in life that can't be used to get closer to one's spiritual enlightenment. The only problem is in our heads, where we see, well, this is right, this is wrong. No, everything is a teacher. That's the problem. It's in our heads where we manufacture in ourselves what we think is real and what's not, what's right, what's wrong, instead of letting everything teach us how we can grow inside ourselves. Now, I'm convinced that the whole world is not going to do this. I'm convinced that the people that sit in Congress are not going to do this kind of thing, but it doesn't mean we can't. Understand? We can begin to distinguish what's real, what's an illusion, how everything in life, there's no right or wrong, there's no positive. Everything is the teacher of what we have to do to grow as human beings. Then you change the perspective of the way you see the world. It's wonderful to be able to see the world this way. No longer a place that intimidates you or threatens you. It becomes someplace that gives to you teachings and lessons of what you have to do to learn to grow. Now, this is hard to do because we're so conditioned to seeing the world in terms of duality, right and wrong, black and white, good and bad, positive and negative. And we have to overcome that conditioned place in ourselves that sees the world to where we don't see it. That what is it teaching me? What is life teaching me? How is God manifesting to me today? Because all of life is just a manifestation of higher energy. So how is it manifesting to me today? What do I learn from this? Instead of, oh my God, I'm going to this and that. I'm going to hide, I'm up, it's crazy. What do I learn from this? It certainly overcomes fear because you can't be intimidated by life. Does anyone else have a question?
Stuart,
Yes.
I'm sorry I drink water. And I have a question.
Yes.
What is different to meditate with open eyes and with closed eyes? Because today I managed to open my eyes and I felt that was different because energy was more, was easier to meditate today with open eyes. Before I couldn't.
Listen, Flora, you live with your eyes open, right? You live looking out at a world that usually sucks everybody's energy out of them. Life is like a big vacuum cleaner, draining everybody of their energy. Now, if you're centered in the third chakra while you're looking at the world, life is not going to drain your energy. And that is why we do open eye meditation, is to condition ourselves to be in the world and free of the world at exactly the same time.
Wow.
So that every stupid situation doesn't become a soap opera and a drama, and suddenly all your life is being drained out of you.
Yes.
Into some stupid situation, Well,
Hmm.
we need to learn how to do this. And part of meditating with one's eyes open is simply learning how to do this.
Hmm.
And it's a very important thing to learn because, And life is endless soap operas and dramas and crazy situations.
Oh.
And we need to learn to be centered and grounded and in the world. Whether we're in meditation, we're at the grocery store, we're driving a car, we're at work, we're centered and we're in the world.
Wow.
A good thing to learn, huh?
Mhm. And but today I could manage your energy with open eyes. I couldn't before. I just have to close my eyes.
We're a deal with making progress.
It's good. Because you gave me light when I look at you, but when I would close my eyes, energy was more darker.
Well,
And
keep
no, I
looking
said,
at
I
me.
want, huh?
Keep looking at me.
I will.
Does anyone else have a question?
Maybe I don't want to answer this, but have you gotten any like vision of how long you're gonna be teaching, or
Any who?
have you gotten? Do you have any idea like how long you're gonna teach or even live? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Well, I don't know. Look,
Any visions or something?
look, as long as I'm alive, I will be doing this work. So just take it. Look, my teacher, Rudy, told me he was going to live to 84 years old. And he told me, Stuart, learn what I have to teach. He said, because if you don't learn what, one day I'm not going to be here. And he told me this again and again and again. He once told me, don't love me. He said, love God and just learn what I have to teach. Don't build shrines to me when I'm gone. Don't build stupas to me. Don't build memorials to me. Learn what I have to teach. Because if you learn what I have to teach, it means that I have done my job here and I will be free. And I made a commitment to him that that's what I was going to learn. And I'm saying the same thing to everybody else. Learn what has to be is being taught. Because, you know, look, I'm not a kid anymore. I'm not going to be here doing these Zoom classes, you know. So learn it. Learn it, what I have to teach. And then, you know, you can use it in your life and you can maybe pass it on to somebody else in some wonderful way. It's hard because I never knew anyone I loved as much as Rudy. You know, he was the most extraordinary being I'd ever met. Don't love me. Kept telling me, don't love me. Learn what I have to teach. That's why we met. Learn what I have to teach. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
I have a small question, Stuart, just to follow. You talked to your answer to Skender, you talked about low hands, but what are low hands?
Oh, they're teachers in the cosmos that are part of the Chinese Buddhist tradition. They're called, look them up on Google, Lohan, Olohan. And I think there are 12 or 16 of them that are supposed to transmit teachings and, you know, and, you know, you see them in Chinese paintings, you know. So you can write Lohan in Google and it'll all come up. You'll find out what they are. I used to have paintings of them when I was in the art business years ago. I would have Tonkas with Lohans, you know, Chinese paintings with Lohans. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, there'll be meditation on Thursday, and God bless you all, and thank you for really being part of this. I can't tell you how grateful I am to come here and do this with all of you. God bless you all. Have a wonderful evening and or day, wherever you are. And hopefully I'll see everybody on Thursday. And bless you.
Thank
bless
you.
you too. Thank you.
All right.